This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right. There we go. John Yang won $100. I don't know who the hell's giving it to him, but he said $100 says Marcel is wearing a hat. So how about that? And by the way, Sean, a really nice new board you made here for this segment. It really looks sharp, man. Nice job by you. How you feeling? Oh, no.
Hey, look, all I want is to have a brand. So if my brand is that I'm going to pull up wearing a hat, then I'm going to pull up wearing a hat and look good doing it, man.
Okay. Well, you're always
$50 if he said, I bet you he's wearing a hat and he looks good.
But you're a good-looking young man as it is. You're going to look good with a hat, without a hat, and all that stuff. So
that's what my girl tells me. So
yeah,
if she says it must be true.
Yes. That poor woman. What are you putting her through? Jesus Christ. Anyway, well, that's a whole other show to talk about. But anyway, so practice yesterday, my man. How was it in your eyes overall? What was the overall assessment after 2 weeks? What progress has been made? What progress needs to be made?
I think anybody in this chat, anybody listening to the show who's been in attendance over the past week can say and attest, there's been seemingly a concerted effort, at least at practice, to push the ball downfield. Obviously, they want to run the ball. We know that. That's why they have this stable of running backs. But they invested significantly into the wide receiver room as well over the past couple of years. Mm-hmm. It's almost as if Tua is saying on purpose, like, let me show these people what I can do. Let's change this narrative right now and nip this in the bud. But I think that, look, man, Tua looks good, sure. He looks improved. He looks highly accurate on those deep passes, but he's always been accurate on those deep balls. Where I've seen an improvement in his arm strength is when he's throwing outside the numbers, when he's throwing to the sidelines. There's a few throws that I can't highlight because they violate the media policy, but where he's putting it on a dime, he's putting it on a spot where only his receiver can get it. He's tucking it low and away to where they can fall out of bounds while still corralling the ball in, without having to contort themselves into some ridiculous Marvin Harrison-like position. I think that there does get to a point in training camp, however, where it's hard to judge a team practicing against itself. You know the moves, you know tendencies, you know how to play them, you know how to beat them. So I think it's you kind of have to temper expectations and roll them back a little bit. We're going to learn a lot here in, I believe it's in 2 days in Tampa for joint practices. I'm very much looking forward to what this defense can do against a Tom Brady run machine, considering he had one of the best games of his career against the Dolphins last year. He's been in the league for how long, man? Look at the numbers. It was one of the best games of his career, period. No matter what jersey he's wearing. It'd be interesting to see how they respond here in practice scenarios, but still, it's against Tom Brady. I'm interested in seeing what Tua can do against a pass rush that is not his and doesn't necessarily care whether they get home or not, or whether they pull up before they get home or not. I'm looking forward to a hostile environment, quote unquote hostile. It's Tampa, but an environment that's not his own fans.
This is exactly what you want after 2 weeks, so you can see what kind of progress you've made so far on the offensive line and everywhere else. I'm with you 1,000%. This is
big, and I also, as a team, I want to see do tempers flare, and don't hear that as me saying I want to see a fight. I want to see how mentally tough is this team. Because one thing they have not been doing throughout training camp is fighting among themselves, at least not publicly. I think we've seen maybe two minor shoving matches compared to, the Bills are fighting every damn day at practice. I feel like we're getting a report of that, and they're calling it competitiveness, which sure. But I want to see, when there are guys that you don't have to share a locker room with anymore, when there's people wearing another color jersey than you, another color scheme jersey than you, can you keep your cool? Like, has Mike McDaniel, under his influence, is this a team that knows how to keep composed You know, we know that they can dance and they can play music at practice and they can have fun and they can be themselves. That's great. That's great. Don't mean shit if you lose your mind on the football field. So this is going to be that first kind of opportunity for them to show that composure and show that maturity. I'm looking forward to it, actually. I'm flying out to Tampa tomorrow, and I will be at both joint practices, and I will be watching intently with my Amazon binoculars and notepad at the ready.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Obviously, with the way Tua is playing, what has outside of the Tua stuff, which we all know that he has played a lot better and he looks a lot more comfortable in all of this. The offensive line. What are you learning from the 5 guys that they have chosen to start right now? Who is making progress in your eyes, and who is not making progress in your eyes?
Well, O-line, it's like cornerback, where if you're not being talked about, if you're not being noticed, that is probably a good thing. It means you're doing your job. I haven't noticed Liam Eichenberg, which means he's not getting his you-know-what kicked in every other snap like he was as a rookie. Austin Jackson is, I think, clearly improved, considering the challenge that he was, bestowed upon him, if you will, at right tackle, protecting to his blind side as one of the worst pass blocking O linemen in the NFL last year. I think he's been strong. They do get beat. This 5, they do get beat. Don't get it twisted, but I don't think it's to their own fault. I think Miami is going to be one of the better pass rushing teams in the NFL this year because there's just this constant cycle of rushers where there's no lull. You know, if you're facing Jalen Phillips on first down, and then you got Andrew Van Ginkel on second down, and then Phillips or Ingram again on third, like there's no let up, and it's relentless, and it's going to go 4 quarters deep. Everybody's going to be relatively fresh. So I think that you can't look too far into any O-line struggles. Yesterday, they were not good in the run game. They were not good at controlling the line of scrimmage and getting any push when the Dolphins are trying to run the ball. That is not necessarily something that we saw a whole lot of. And it's another thing you kind of have to take with a grain of salt in training camp since they're not tackling to completion. Mm-hmm. But, we definitely didn't see the chunk gains and we didn't see the big runs yesterday like we kind of had been seeing, start to sprinkle in throughout the week. But other than that, and then Conor Williams at center. Look, mention Conor Williams transitioning over to center, and you're going to get a handful of Cowboys fans and reporters that say, oh, looks like this experiment isn't working again. This is another key test for, I guess, a key benchmark for Mike McDaniel's coaching staff, which has already let us know just how confident, almost to the point of arrogance, but definitely confident they are in themselves, that they could see another staff's unit and say, ain't got to do nothing to it. We'll figure it out from here. Worst pass blocking unit in the NFL last year? We'll add a couple guys. We'll add Teron. Obviously, it's big, but we're not going to cut anybody. Throw Austin Jackson on the other side. We'll fix it. And so this is a scenario where they're looking at Conor Williams and they're saying to every coach that's coached Conor Williams, you were doing it wrong. We can do it better. I'm interested in just how many times they can get away with that as a staff before it blows up.
No. Wait a minute. The experiment with the Cowboys was very short at center. This is not something that's been tried. He's been a guard the entire time. This is the first
Why was it short?
Because it was just a short experiment in the off season. This is actually a commitment to him at center. They're not working him with somebody else. He's not competing. No. He is the starting center. So they basically have told him, here you go. This is your position. You need to transition into it. And yesterday, I know he had a clean day finally. And I think, as I said last week, and I've told you and I've told others, I think this is the week here. I think this is the week where you need a clean week from him, and then the concern goes away. But if you have a bad week against Tampa, then I think now the panic sets in a little bit and you have to start searching for somebody else to come in. But I think this is the first time that somebody has said, Conor Williams is our center. The Cowboys had already a hell of a center. It's not like they needed a center.
They didn't need him,
I mean?
but there's a reason why it was a short-lived experiment. They said, okay, never mind, you're better off at guard. We're wasting our time doing this. You're correct that this is more time commitment, more of a commitment period. It's also a commitment out of necessity if Dieter is often injured.
Well, no, I
Still
think
hasn't
it's a
come
commitment.
back.
I think it's a commitment after watching Dieter. Because by doing this, they basically, because if it wasn't that, they would have said, well, Conor's helping out and filling in and he'll play guard. We're waiting for Dieter to come back. That's never been the case. They gave him the job. So they basically, when Mike McDaniel took over and watched the film, he said, yeah, he's not good enough to be my center. That's basically
not really, but that's not how competition works. Oh, like nobody says, oh yeah, they're just filling in. Like if like Noah, for instance, is technically filling in for Byron Jones.
But you don't give somebody else's job to someone else.
But this is what I'm saying. He's technically filling in, but if you ask Mike about Noah, you're never going to hear him say, oh, he's just biding time until Byron gets back. He's going to tell you this is an opportunity for Noah to assert himself. This is an opportunity for Noah to take. So, like, even if he is just a place, or even if he was a place, so they would never tell us that. Mike is an open book, but he's not that open. So, I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but at this point, he's been practicing too much at center. He is going to be the center. And he did tell us that he expects to be the starter when the season does begin. But I mean,
McDaniel expects him to be a starter. He treats him like he's a starting center.
And he believes in his decision. He told us the other day he would be concerned if Conor Williams did not work at it. Like if he didn't put the work in to be good, to be starting caliber. So, at this point,
I was the one that asked him that question about Conor Williams because obviously is it a concern? He was like, no, it's not a concern now, but eventually it's if he doesn't fix it this week, I think next week you have to try to find a center. I think it's the responsible thing to do in the front office. If you go through the first week with competition, he doesn't have it. I don't think you can wait a second week for it not to get better. You know what I'm saying? Because now you're really pushing, because I don't know what options are out there outside of JC Treader. I don't know what else is out there.
No, you're almost better off asking the guys that you have on stat or on roster who's got center capability, who's got experience. But one thing I thought that, and this might have been part of his answer to you, I think it was, that I found really interesting. I didn't personally know. Look, I know that Frank Smith has experience around offensive lines, right? Like he did the same during Toronto's rookie year in New Orleans. He did the same with the Chargers this past year. He did the same with the Raiders in the mid-2010s. If you guys don't remember, Raiders had one of the best O-lines in the NFL during their resurgence. But I didn't know that he was Ben Roethlisberger's center at Miami, Ohio. So not only does he have experience guiding offensive lines, he has specific experience at center. And even Mike told us this isn't the first time he's converted a guard over to center. So he basically told us, look, man, y'all are concerned. I've done this before. It's not a big deal.
That was my follow-up question when I asked him, I know the conversion from center to guard is not as hard, but from guard to center, that becomes a hell of a challenge because you got to play with the ball in your hands. You got to make the calls at the line and you got to block. The other guys are just thinking, I got to block, but when you're the center, you got two other responsibilities the other guys don't have. And so it's not an easy thing, man. That's the other thing that we all have to be a little patient too, because it's not an easy thing to just make a guy who's been playing guard all of a sudden. Now, if he was a center that then had to switch to guard, then it'll be an easier transition to get back. But when you're a pure guard and then you got to go to center, man, that's a hell of a challenge.
And not just that, I'm pretty sure he was a tackle at Texas, if I'm not mistaken, and it was already converted or had to be converted to guard. But so I mean, I'm sure part of the sales pitch to Conor was, you've got tackle experience, you've obviously got guard experience. We're gonna add center to your list, and all of a sudden, your value, your brand shoots up. If you could play all 5 positions on an offensive line, you are a more valuable offensive lineman. That ties into the message that McDaniel tells this team as a whole, which is my staff and I are trying to put you in the best position to succeed. We are trying to put food on your family's plate. We're trying to help you do that. You just have to trust us that we want to get you to that spot. And so, this is cut from that it's cut from that cloth. But beyond that, nobody's really talking about it because the concern was the starting five, but I don't love the depth on this line. I don't love the depth on this line. I guess you got your swing tackle in Larnell Coleman. Greg Little has been working at a tackle spot. I'm not sure if I'm even allowed to say he's been working at a tackle spot. He's listed as a damn tackle, so that can't be against the rules. But it's not like he's been particularly good. If Greg Little is playing, like something went wrong, you know what I'm saying? So I don't love the depth behind the top five, but the top five at least looks like a starting caliber offensive line, as they should. All of these guys are top 100 or so picks.
I'm with you there. All right, what are you working on ESPN so folks can check you out, my friend?
Well, am going, like I said, to joint practices this week. We are still working to get to the bottom of this tampering saga. So, that'll be coming in. Obviously, I don't think as info comes in, I probably can't tell y'all on the show. Maybe I can tease something now and then when we have it. But that's kind of, unfortunately, that is my goal until we get to the bottom of it. We got a team on it at ESPN. We got some of the best reporters in the country, best, Bulldog reporters in the country. And I know that we'll get to the bottom of it before long. But then I'll have plenty to write in real time once I see what this team does against other competition. So, it's, again, we're back to football. We're back to kind of weekly plans here. And like I said,
the Brian Flores thing is kind of done, right? It's kind of done on the football side of it, right?
As far as the specific lawsuit against the Dolphins, yeah, basically, yeah. That's, again, I think it was you that brought that point up, that it kind of feels like the NFL punished them for tampering and tanking, since the report said y'all tanked, but we don't find you guilty of tank. It doesn't make sense to me. So that's the only, and it would explain the harshness, the severity of the punishment.
It makes sense because they got DraftKings money. Oh, it makes sense because they got MGM's money. Oh, it makes a lot of sense why they didn't want to go all the way on the tanking. Oh, Lordy, it makes a lot of sense. Okay,
yeah, so,
we're not born yesterday, bro. Please give me a break.
But and then also
he cheated and all that, and it's just disgusting. Now it's the other part of the lawsuit, right? The racism part,
the racial discrimination, and
well,
that one's going to be hard to hard to prove. But again, I think we've talked about
prove it with the Dolphins. There's no proof with the Dolphins.
No, not with the Dolphins. But I'm saying, like, this basically shines a light on the trouble behind the Rooney Rule as a whole. You can't artificially inspire forward thought. Like, this isn't Inception. Like, Leo DiCaprio and his team of merry men is not going to shrink into your dreams and convince you to hire a black coach because it's the right thing to do. You can't just tell people you have to interview one. So yeah, they're going to interview it. Like, they're going to check the box.
It becomes a farce. It's a farce.
It's man. It's like, technically you're supposed to check your brake lights when you get into the car. Raise your hand in the chat if y'all check your brake lights every time you enter your car. Like, it's just something that whatever. Yeah, sure. I'll tap the brake. Yeah, it works. Sure. And then you keep it pushing. So I think he's kind of got an uphill battle. I mean, it's a moral victory in that the NFL said, yeah, you were telling the truth. But again, and I think we all knew this, we're not really any closer to getting the change he's trying to effect than we were 7 months ago. But yeah, that's probably done. I'm co-hosting. I'm co-hosting on ESPN Radio tonight from 7 to 9 with Sarah Spain. Starting to move up, man. Starting to move up in the day slots, man. The time of day. No more graveyard shift. Well, I still got another one on Friday, but not tonight, baby. We got prime time tonight. We got rush hour dinner time. So you guys, Isaiah, we don't even use turn signals out here. Hell no, y'all don't. Y'all look for something to listen to, some good conversation tonight. 7 to 9 ESPN Radio. You can listen to it in the ESPN app or on your physical radio if you have Sirius XM. So
there you go. And don't forget, you can order the finest energy drink on the planet, myedgedrink.com. You can't get it in stores, but you can get 10% off by going online to myedgedrink.com. Delicious, smooth, zero aftertaste, the finest elixir on the planet. When you mix it with vodka, you're going to love it, because when I mix it with Grey Goose, it is just absolutely heaven. Order it, support us, support the great company that supports our program, our platform, and Marcel. Edge Energy Drink, myedgedrink.com. I promise you, when you try that, you will never have another energy drink again, because all the other ones got an aftertaste. This one doesn't. myedgedrink.com. Get 10% off. Use our code Big O. Marcel, as always, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you. We'll catch up later in the week.
absolutely.
All right. Enjoy Burn Steakhouse. There you go. Marcel, Louis Jacques, giving you the edge.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.